Shalom, friends. Welcome to Daf Reactions Shevuot 19. Situational awareness. So important. My years of martial arts training and my decades of being a woman taught me that. In today's Daf, let's discover how situational awareness is also key to avoiding corpse-related ritual impurity, which is contagious. And then you need to get purified. The sages taught there were two paths. One of them was ritually impure because there was a burial site somewhere along there, but nobody had put up a trail marker that said, "These are the paths of the dead, FYI. Signage. Important. The other path was fine. All it had was pollen. So just like we have two paths, we also get two cases. Two paths, two cases. Case one, a man was trying to get to the temple in Jerusalem. He walked on one of the paths and then decided to take the scenic route and walk on the other path too because he had like a really long lunch break or something. He went to the temple. Well, then he's got to bring an oopsie whoopsie offering because there's no way he got to the temple without contracting ritual impurity from one of those paths that he took, because he took both. Case two is a little bit more complex, okay? The guy walks on path A, and then he's like, oh, wait a sec. Oh, wait, shit. I'm not sure of my status. So he gets sprinkled with the waters of purification just in case. And then he goes to a mikvah, the ritual bath, and then he showers under a Brita water filter, thereby completing his multi-step purification process. And after that, then he walks on the second path to the temple. A choice. But he still doesn't know which path was actually the corpse road, so there's still a 50% chance that he just walked into the temple while ritually impure. And I'm just going to say again that this doubt could have been fixed with signage. Like, I know the skull and crossbones exist for another reason, which is pirate flags, but it could also just be really helpful here too. Or like one of those tree grave markers we've learned so much about in the Talmud already. But since there was no marker, they could not add one then because they really didn't know for sure which path it was. So anyway, the rabbis say, yeah, he's liable for going into the temple, potentially impure. Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Except there's one sage who doesn't agree with this, and that is Rabbi Shimon. Yes, that one. And he says, no, that man is exempt. He didn't know for sure. The man is exempt in both cases. Both cases. What? Even case one, where this man literally did the Leonardo DiCaprio skip down both paths, and you're saying he doesn't have to do any offering? And Rava is like, okay, hang on, let's figure out what's actually being said here. This is about awareness, what that man knew, and when did he know it? Even in case one, and this is why. That man could have walked on the first path and then taken the second path, but he forgot he walked on the first path because he was looking at his phone the whole time. And may I say, let this be a lesson to all of us about that habit, both on paths that could have ritual impurity and in parking lots where you could get stampeded by somebody else's camel. Pay attention. So when the man actually got to the temple, he had forgotten that he walked on both paths because his memory was daydream Swiss cheese, and he only had partial awareness. Partial. So according to this thinking, somebody is only liable for entering the temple in a state of ritual impurity if that person was totes aware of what he was doing. Awareness can be difficult to judge, and Rabbi Shimon was acknowledging this fact, which I just really find so interesting, because one of the things he did after leaving his hermit cave was go around and try to clearly mark what areas, what paths were ritually impure and which were not. Other than laser eyes, that was really his wheelhouse. On a personal note, I will say that as I learned this stuff, I did picture how it might be different if it was a woman walking along the paths, because you know she would have had her wits about her, constantly checking her six, earbuds of antiquity in but not on so she could use all of her senses, using her peripheral vision, hyper aware. I'm just saying there's a lot to be learned from women on being fully, painfully in the moment when out for a hike. To paraphrase something that Bilbo Baggins once said, it's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out your door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your wits about you, there's no knowing if you'll be ritually impure by the time you get to Minas Tirith.